Join us each week for some booze-free banter about life without booze.
If you're entertaining cutting back your booze by a day, a week, a month, or for the rest of your life, we would love for you to tune in.
Buckle up and come along for a ride that may just change your life. Just a heads up, some of the conversations we have may be triggering. Reach out to your local support centre in Australia. That's Lifeline 131144.
Booze-free Bants is recorded. I am on Burrawong land. Where are you, Breezer?
I am on Jarjarong land.
And we would like to pay our respects to our elders past and present and emerging, and we would like to acknowledge the original tellers of stories in this country of ours.
So wherever you're tuning into our potty, make sure you know whose land you're on. Psst, hey, Nathan.
Psst, hey, Breezer.
Did you know that Altina non-alc wines combine the ritual and theatre of wine sans the alcohol with the discovery of new natural ingredients?
A discovery and theatre, the whole shebang.
Tickety-boo. And in today's episode, I am drinking that Le Blanc.
Are you drunk?
Le Blanc.
La Blanc.
Le Blanc. And it's absolutely delicious. The bubbles taste sensational. I love it.
They're so refreshing, aren't they? And I have been drinking, and do you know that they all come in 750ml bottles? So sharing pack.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. So the Sainsbury, which I just love, and they've got the mulled wine kit as well, if you haven't copped a load of that.
I love the Sainsbury.
Yep, same. Delicious.
So my little can is 250ml and quite convenient, one would say.
I have been known to put one in my bag to take to the restaurant.
Under the radar?
Yep, I'm not joking. They say no BYO. Bad luck. I'm taking it. Oh, thanks, Altina.
Thank you, Altina.
Hey, Breezer.
Hey, Meso.
Before we jump into the app, do you know that Altina have given us and the listeners a Disney code?
Oh my God, so good. What is it?
It's BFB10, which will get you 10% off the entire Altina range. And do you know where we can find them? Tell us.
You can find them at www.altinadrinks.com. Meso.
Breezer.
How are ya?
I have just had a therapy session.
Likewise, mate. Likewise.
My goodness me. We just had the most amazing guest on. Would you like to introduce her?
I will. You may know her as It's Not Me, It's Booze. We know her as Mel Watkins. She's a bloody rock star. We love her.
Oh, we really do. She was a little powerhouse. All the goodness she brought to the table. She's actually a psychotherapist, so she knows her shit.
She knows her shit
us.
more than us.
Yeah.
So I learned lots.
I know. We're just two hacks having a crack, and she's come in.
She's all professional with her piece of paper, university degree.
But also she loved getting on it, so she mixed it right up. And I love so much that she has dipped her toe in and out of sobriety, which is actually, we can learn from her, and we've learned a lot. We
have learned a lot, and I just really admire her honesty. Like, nothing's off the table with Mel. Like, she speaks about her own experience, and the life she's lived in order to help others. And she's doing some amazing things in this space. And she's a real leader, I feel, in this in this sober community.
She's a realist. She says she's not perfect, and I think that's so relatable. Yeah. It's just we love her. Thanks, Mel.
Thanks, Mel. Should we bring her in, Meso?
Bring her on in. Here she is.
Bring her in. A big, warm, booze-free Bants with buddies. Welcome to our friend Mel Watkins. Welcome, Mel.
Hey, I'm so glad to be here. I've been watching your podcast, and I've been really wanting to get on here, listening and watching. But yeah, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, it's so good. Welcome.
So good. And we are thrilled that you are our first guest for season number 2.
Amazing.
I feel like we need to roll the red carpet out.
Yeah, there's a high expectation there, right?
We brought in the big guns.
Yeah, Mel, you're going to set the bar.
Thanks. Yeah, awesome, cool. Thanks, guys.
No pressure.
You didn't have to do it. You didn't have to do it in the morning, guys.
You're at your best. You're at your best. So, Mel, you would have heard the podcast, our season 1 podcast. We used to have a segment called Shame Story. We've flipped that on its head a little bit, and our new segment is called Confession Session. So you can give us a story of something that's happened on the booze, maybe you're not so proud of, or you just want to get it off your chest and tell the world about it.
Yeah.
Confess your sins.
How long do we have?
All season. It's all yours.
Confession session. It's time to play.
I was the person that people would tell the stuff that they did wrong to me because they know that I've probably done worse and they would not get judged. So I've done a lot of shit. I'm allowed to swear. I've done a lot of shit things when I've been drinking, things I'm not proud of. And it probably was one of the biggest things that, that ruined my confidence as well, because I would compare myself to a serial killer because I was like, well, what's somebody who hasn't done that, or like who's done something worse? And then I would compare myself to like Ted Bundy or something. Like, no, I didn't like kill anyone, but I just did things that weren't nice, and I was continuously doing it. And I know friends were like, when is she ever going to grow up? And one of the things was I was at this corporate company. I organised like this 20-year anniversary for one of the staff there, and it was like one of the senior staff, and I organised a big party for them. And of course, like I took MDMA there and got like super maggoted, and then went out to the club afterwards, got kicked out. Like, I've got photos, like I'm just on the couch, like passed out. And then this senior member of staff was like worried about me, so he came into a Uber with me, or maybe a taxi back then, and he was there with me. He's like, I'll see you home because you're not in a good way. And like all the staff there's like 100 staff, they know that I've just left and been kicked out. And then I get into this taxi, and I somehow in my head, I don't remember what happened, but got offended by what the taxi driver said and punched him from the back of the back seat, just like next. This senior staff member's just seeing me doing a hit in from the back seat, and this taxi driver was obviously, you'd be pissed off if someone just like king hit you from the back seat, and he kicked us out, and then he spat on me, and then I was crying. Still had this senior staff member with me. We're like on the highway, and then I held down another taxi. It was the same fucking taxi and didn't realise that it was the same guy, and I'm trying to get in. He's like, you just punched me, like you can't like to be fair, I think this guy was like, I think he was said something inappropriate, but I'm not 100% sure. And then like obviously everyone knew at work the next day, and so that's probably like one thing that I sometimes forget, but it was really bad at the time. But there's been a number of things like that was probably like one of the things I was like, fuck, like, no, to be honest, like it wasn't even like fuck, because I was like young and I still thought like people still high-fived me the next day. So, but then there was like, but obviously people high-five you and then they talk about you behind your back.
Yeah.
Like it's obviously it's not appropriate behavior, and it's disgusting behavior. But when you're young and you're like drinking and it's not seen as something as bad as it should have been, like I would be horrified if somebody that I knew did that now. So that's probably.
Did you remember like going into work, Mel, how you were feeling the next day or whenever you went back into work?
Oh yeah, full anxiety, because like, I'm representing a company, like it was violent, like I assaulted somebody. So it's, whilst thing is when you are in that, but when you're in that frame of mind, like you're spending, like I was hungover as well, and I had so much anxiety. I didn't want to go into work, but then like I'm also trying to recover from a hangover, still do my job successfully and deal with whatever happened. And the best thing when something like that happens, you go into defense mechanisms. So you just kind of like laugh it off, or you're like, oh, it's just super wasted. Like, those kind of feelings. You're not addressing what actually happened and how bad it was.
I found my reaction to you saying that, then I found myself laughing, but it's so awkward. And how do you respond to that? Because that's not who you are.
No.
That's who's doing that. And so we have the, we always seem to justify it, don't we? Oh, it's just the booze, or it's a bit, like you said, high-fiving each other and then going, oh, that was actually a bit unsavoury. And it made, I have to say, it's reminded me of a situation that I had with the taxi driver. We're going to park that because this is not my episode, but it just reminded me of one that I completely forgot about. So listen out for that. But yeah, I feel your pain there, mate. Thank you so much for sharing. I know that's difficult.
Yeah.
Do you want to, we always give our guests an opportunity to say sorry. If you want to say sorry to the taxi driver.
Yeah, to that taxi driver, I'm sorry, but if you did say anything inappropriate to me, there might have been a reason for it. But no, I do say sorry because no one deserves that. And like I said, like I was boozed out of my mind, so who knows what's real? Like to be honest, I probably made up in my head that he said something inappropriate, and then it's made me feel better. So,
and the thing is, you'll never know, will you, Mel?
No,
you'll never know.
Yeah. And I was lucky enough, like they've got cameras and stuff these days. Like I could have been charged. Like that's the thing. Like I was lucky that nothing bad there wasn't a consequence of that.
Yeah, really
100%.
lucky. And you're here to tell a tale to remind everyone we do stupid shit when we're pissed. So get off it.
Yeah, and to not mess with me, all right?
Yes. Well, Mel, you just got married. How long ago was that?
That was in January.
Congratulations. Can we please talk about your wedding, that dress? Oh my God, the tear deliciousness. It was so divine. Tell us about your wedding.
Thank you. Yeah, the wedding was great. It was stressful because it was in COVID. It was like bam when the Omni stream or whatever it was came in. So it was very stressful. So I was quite glad when it was over, but the wedding was good. It was amazing to be with all our friends. We haven't obviously seen each other in such a long time because of lockdown. So it was good to see our friends in Tassie and Melbourne. We had people fly over from Brisbane. So it was really great. I wanted to touch on here because I did mention it on my Instagram. I didn't do it sober. The hens, I did half of it sober, and then I ended up drinking in the evening. And then the wedding, I did all the getting ready with non-alc wine, and then when I got there, I ended up drinking. So I just thought I wanted to touch on that just in case anybody wasn't quite sure, because I'm always authentic and always talk about my experience. But yeah, I did drink, but at the same time, it was a really good day and it was a good night. But looking back on it, and I see like some videos of my husband, he's playing me a song, and I've got that bit of a blank look on my face, which is obviously from booze. So looking back on it, do I regret it? I don't really like to regret things, but I know that I would have had an amazing time sober. And I probably there's a part of me that would be like, I wish I had done it sober, but at the same time, it was a great day. And the thing is, I got back on the sober train the next day. And for me, I'm not perfect. I am a human, and things happen. It was a very stressful time, and I ended up drinking. But I'm back to being sober now. Yeah, I've been sober ever since. So.
Good on you.
Well done, Mel. Did you your wedding? I love seeing your wedding pics on Instagram. It made my day every time a little wedding dress popped up. Did you go and your hens party outfit? That was a massive vibe. Did you go into both of those events with the intention to not drink, or was it just like, I'll see what happens?
It was, I see what happens. I kind of knew that I was going to drink. Like when I know, and I see it with my clients, like when you've got like a 50-50 in your head and you haven't made up your mind, you're going to drink. So, so I knew I was going to drink. But yeah, I did. I did know I was going to drink. Yeah.
Was it mental gymnastics that we talk about? Did you do your head in a little bit? Going, I shouldn't, or were you comfortable going, if it comes up, I'm going to go with it?
I think I just didn't want to fight it, to be honest.
It
was so stressful with COVID, and I was just like, because we didn't know who was going to arrive. People were dropping off, even like your venue and your hairdressers, like if they were going to get COVID. And then if anyone that I knew got COVID, meant that I wouldn't have been able to get married either. So like anyone that I've seen, because it was a big group of us all together before the wedding. So, but yeah, and I just didn't fight it. I just let it. It happened. Fortunately, when it's your wedding, you can't really do anything bad because people are all about you. Yeah, exactly. And then I got COVID straight after, and everybody at the wedding did. I think there was 90 people at the wedding and 80 people got COVID. There wasn't the continuous drinking because I was sick. So I and I think like I knew that was like the wedding was going to happen. And then I'm not going to drink after that. And that's the thing, like it's really hard when you're trying to get sober again after you have crossed that boundary with yourself. And that's what I found when I had crossed the boundary. I had to make sure, and I had to be aware, okay, I'm really triggered right now. Even like on a weeknight where I wouldn't even used to think about drinking, I was thinking about drinking. And that meant that I did have to stay away from situations where there was alcohol, because I am a non-drinker. So I don't want to fall back into those patterns of drinking again. So I did make sure I put a strategy in place. So in the first couple of months, when you are feeling triggered after you have had a drinking session, is to just keep yourself away from triggers, because it's going to be hard at that starting again.
I love this. I love that you've opened that up, because I think that's something that no one does, do they? They go, I'll get back on the source. What am I going to do after? You've set yourself up that plan and put those strategies in place. I think that's amazing advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's important. Like, a lot of people, we have to be this perfect sober person, and I get it, like, because it can be triggering for people when they see people like that drink again. But at the same time, in recovery, I study this, in my studies, is that recovery is unique for everybody, and somebody can't feel ashamed if they slip up, because if they slip up and they end up drinking and they're feeling ashamed, you're not going to be able to get sober again, because you're spending all this energy of feeling ashamed about it. Like, this is your journey, and your journey is unique.
Yeah,
I love that. It's a really positive spin on it, Mel, and I think that's a really important message to get out to our listeners, because if I go through those patterns of going, what if I get back on it again? Like, I sort of do my head in a little bit, but giving yourself that permission, I think, is really important, and not beating yourself up about it after the fact if you are drinking. Mel, there's you talk about on your Instagram a quite significant, compelling event which led you to start looking at your relationship with alcohol, and we'll get to that event. But can you tell us, what was your drinking like? Or how did, tell us about your drinking patterns leading up to that event.
With alcohol and drugs, everything's like, there's different severities of addiction, right? And some people, it can be super severe, that they are reliant on alcohol during the day or in the night, and they rely on it to keep them going, because they have drank so much, and they need it to function. And then there's also people that are binge drinkers. And for me, it's interesting, because I have been a binge drinker, and I was a massive binge drinker. I started drinking since I was 16. I keep changing that age. I think it's 14.
It's 14 on your website. It's 14 on your website,
14,
Mel.
Yeah, 14. Okay, guys, it's 14. I promise you. Obviously, I was drunk then, so I can't remember. But I started binge drinking from that young age. But then at about, I think it was about 17, I was using it to really deal with some negative emotions. I got diagnosed of bipolar at about 17, which back when I was 17, like, I had no idea what that was. And then they gave me this medication, and I was just so confused of what was going on. And then I tried to take my life with alcohol and pills. And like, that was when I started using alcohol to really, like, numb anything that was going on in my head. And obviously I'm here, I'm okay. Thank God I'm still here. But I then would go in a mix of binge drinking and then, like, using it to numb myself. And then depending on what state of mind in, the thing is, like, people can drink and still nothing bad can happen. But what about when things are bad in your life? And that's the thing. Life throws you so many challenges. And when I was 27, I had a massive mental breakdown, and my life was absolutely chaotic. I was like working in sales in the day, and I was like, I might start working at night to just get some extra money, and it will be amazing. I'll be able to work in the day, work at night. So, and I chose a bar out in the suburbs, and I was like, this will be fine. I'll be able to do this. And then 6 months down the track, I remember my boss in the day goes, how's that new job working out for you? And I was like, my relationship shot. I had no money, because also at that bar, they love doing a lot of drugs. And like, it was like a mummy culture out there that they love drugs. And I was like, and I am an alcoholic now. Like, I was drinking so much. I was doing speed while I was serving, which the owner would give me. I was like one time my husband, like I lied about where I was and he tracked me and I was at the bar. Like I was constantly drinking in the day and in the night and things were just unraveling. And that week that year my nan passed away as well. Like there was just so much going on. And that's the thing, like alcohol, it can sometimes just be binge drinking on the weekend. And I've had that relationship with alcohol, but I've also had the relationship with alcohol where I've tried to numb myself and I've been relying on it to make me forget everything that's going on. So it's a mix. And that's the scary thing about alcohol, right? Like you don't know what mindset you could be in when you're drinking it.
That slippery slope, isn't it?
Oof. Mel, thank you so much for sharing that. Firstly, sorry about your nan. May she rest in peace. What's her name?
Margaret.
Cheers to Margaret.
Cheers, Margaret.
Cheers, Margaret.
Cheers, Margaret.
You spoke about your bipolar. We'll circle back on that later, but also thank you for sharing your suicide attempt. I know that must be difficult to touch on as well, but thank you for going there with us. So glad you're still here. Thank you.
I know. I'm so glad. Would have missed out on missed out on TikTok. As you know, I do use humour for a lot of
the best. That's so good. So you do have some amazing content, by the way. If you haven't checked out her Instagram and her TikTok, so hilarious. So good. So glad you're here. So Mel, once you made the decision, just can't speak. Once you made the decision to cut out the booze, how did you go about it?
Well, there was many attempts, and the main attempt was I started creating a blog and just started writing about how I was feeling and how alcohol was making me feel. And I was actually writing to alcohol. So I'd be like, dear alcohol, this is what's happened. Like you keep tricking me into like coming back to you. It was like a little breakout letter. But those letters went on for a while. Yeah. Which I now learn is a therapy modality, which is like narrative therapy. So I like to use it with my clients as well. But it was just like externalizing the problem, because when you feel so much shame with something, it's very hard to face what's going on. Like I said with the taxi driver, like I've probably made up in my head that he was inappropriate to me because I couldn't deal with being a shit person. Mm-hmm. And this is where, like, when I was able to write to alcohol and externalize the problem and kind of feel like it's not a part of me, I was able to start dealing with everything that was going on and understanding what my relationship with alcohol was and uncovering the things that were making me want to drink. So I think that was a huge part of my recovery, was actually, and it's hard at the start because, like I said, you don't want to feel like you don't want to feel like you are the problem, because then, you're not aware enough to be able to deal with that yet. So yeah, that was my attempt. And then I started It's Not Me, It's Booze Instagram, but I started that ages ago, like to the point where I was like, I would have this It's Not Me, It's Booze Instagram and I wouldn't tell people about it. And it like had 100 followers. And then my friends were like, oh, so you realize it's you, it's not the booze? Or like, it was, but yeah, so I had it like on the secret for a year or two, and then COVID happened, and then I started like posting regularly.
Right. So from the age of 17 then, Mel, when you got diagnosed with bipolar, it was a good probably how many years was it that you were sort of in that cycle to when you stopped?
Oh, I started slowing down at probably about 30, 31, I think. Yeah. And then when COVID started, that's when I was like, I had to stop because I found myself doing so much coke on the weekend. I just moved to Sydney. I only had a drug dealer's name in my phone, and that's what I was like, the only person. I even think I got him to follow It's Not Me, It's Booze. I think he's still following me.
Hope you haven't deleted his number, have you, Mel?
I think they always delete their numbers first because they're dodgy. Like
burn a phone
or something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was. I just realized like it's got to stop. Like because events have just suddenly slowed down. Like it was when Grand Prix, like they were set up for Grand Prix, and then that had just like they closed the doors, and that was our big key indicator that everything was going down. And then when you have no motivation to get up for anything, and then you're doing stuff on the weekend, like I just like, I can't do this, because otherwise, again, I won't be here.
Yeah. And I look at COVID, I think, geez, that would have been a hard time, but there's never a perfect time to stop, is there? You've just got to stop. Like, you can't say, I'll do it after Christmas, I'll do it after New Year's Eve. There's always going to be challenges that pop up. So I think you've just got to make that.
We were meant to move to Dubai. I just quit. I actually just quit my events job. My husband had quit his job. We were about to move to Dubai. Like, he'd got a job in Dubai. And then then I had to come running back to my boss saying, can you give me my job back? And then I quit it again a few months later.
And what was the reaction with your friends, Mel? I know you touched on them before with them saying, you know, they were sort of sick of your behaviour. How were they what was their reaction like when they found out you're on this journey?
Yeah, they were, they've all been supportive. I'm super lucky. Like, I've had really supportive friends, or maybe I was just super shit when I was drinking. Like, they're just like when I say to people, when people say their friends aren't supportive, I'm like, well, obviously you weren't as bad. You weren't a super shit friend when you were drinking. But I think they were relieved. I mean, I was the enabler. Like, people used to ghost me like that night, so they know they wouldn't stay out to 6 a.m. in the morning. So I think people were relieved. But also, I think when you back that decision 100%, no one can argue with that. So they're just like, what are they going to do? Like, argue with, I want to be sober. I want to be sober. It's when you're like iffy, that's when people can start challenging it.
Yeah, good call.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. You touched on before, Mel, about, you know, you are very open, and I love that you're so open in your community online with when you do go back to drinking. I know you call it a slip up, but when we interviewed Andy from Etch, she called it learnings. So if you do go back on, it's an opportunity to learn something, which I love. And I've been sober for over 12 months now, and I haven't dipped my toe back in. Thank you. And Meso, you're coming up to 12 months too, aren't you?
Oh my gosh, well done. That's awesome, ladies.
So good.
I haven't dipped my toe back in, Mel. And so I'm so curious as to, and you have sort of touched on it, but what does it look like, and how you make that decision? Is it a split decision, and sort of how do you pick yourself up the next day? Because that's what I sort of worry about, going, what am I going to feel like the next day? What are people going to think? I do my head in over that. So can you tell us what it looks like from your point of view? Having people looking at you when you're drinking, when you've got this sober community.
So when I have drank, last year I drank just as we got out of the pandemic and got out of lockdown, and I had so much anxiety, and that was just a split second. Like, I was at a party and I drank. Like, there was no thinking about it, and it was shit for the whole week. I didn't hand in my uni assignment. I felt like shit the whole week. It was awful, and the night wasn't even good. And this is the thing, like, Andy is so true, and I don't even want to call them slip-ups anymore. Like, that's a really good learnings, yeah. So
yes, Andy, here.
Yeah, exactly. It's not good. It's never what you think it's going to be. Like, and that's the thing. Like, the thing is, I can only be authentic about it. I don't encourage drinking, because I know that it's shit. But at the same time, like, trying to be the most perfect sober person is what caused me to drink that first drink after a couple of years of being sober, you know. So it's hard, and that's where you've got to know what is right for you, because I don't do the sober journey to like restrict myself. I do it because I enjoy it and I love being a non-drinker. So if it happens that I have ended up drinking, then it's not like, I can only be honest about that, and people can judge me. I haven't really had much backlash, but if people can say that, but if I'm honest about it, like, you can't offend me by it, because I know that I have drank, and
it's your choice. Like, it's your body. It's like, it's totally your own business.
Yeah, exactly. And like, we all have different personality traits. We all have different backgrounds. Like, we all have different trauma. And sometimes things just don't happen the way you want it to happen. And like I said, anytime I've drank, like it's never been amazing. Like like even now I think like I'm like it's never what you think it's going to be. And that's the thing. It's never, you romanticize it and you have this idea that you're suddenly going to drink differently or it's going to feel really good and the high is going to be amazing, but the high isn't amazing. And any time that I've drank, I have wished that I was sober. Like I was like, why can't I just be sober right now?
Wow, so, that's amazing. Oof.
I think I actually for the first time heard when play it forward. I'd never heard that phrase before. I think I heard it from you, Mel, on Instagram.
Mm.
It's such an important phrase, play the tape forward.
Yeah.
And you just got to be honest about why you're drinking as well. Like I am not drinking to, like if I've drank in those times, I'm drinking to get fucked up. Like I want to get the high. And the problem is with alcohol, the high is never good enough. You are always chasing a high that doesn't exist because you're thinking your brain is attached to a high that you got when you were younger. When you first drank alcohol, when you first got that massive amount of dopamine released. Whereas like now it's not like that. You will never get that high again. It's like with drugs. You will never get that first high when you had drugs. So you're chasing something that isn't real. So I think that's an important thing to know because, you know, there's science behind that. Like it doesn't release as much dopamine when you've been drinking regularly or what you had when you first tried alcohol or drugs. So it's never what you think it's going to be.
It's mic drop.
Yeah, I'm like, this is my therapy session for the week.
Honestly, me too.
Because Meso and I, and we speak about this often, Mel, we just love getting fucked up. Like we loved it. Loved it. And I miss that. Like I still miss that to this day. I miss getting loose and just like, where's the night going to take us? Like just getting that excitement. Where are we going to end up?
All the mischief.
Mm-hmm. All the mischief. Like that's probably the hardest thing that I've had to grapple with. And I think you're the same, Meso. We just miss that. Getting bent out of shape.
Yeah,
I know. And that's people aren't honest about that though. They're like, oh, but I just want to moderate. The problem is who wants to moderate? I don't want to moderate. That's not why I'm drinking.
Yeah. I know. What's one?
Actually, I spoke to a client during the week and she's not like, she doesn't drink, but she doesn't not drink, but she's not a drinker, but she got fucked up on the weekend and she like had the best night. And she's like, I drink like once a year. I'm like, boom. I love that.
Yeah.
Went large and that was it.
But that's the thing as well. You do have to keep in mind that we all have different brain chemistry. So your high might be different to somebody else's high. Because like my husband and I, if we would drink together, he's had a couple of glasses, I've had a couple of glasses, I'm up here, he's still here. So like I'm ready for the party to get started. And so we're never going to be on the same page because I'm always up here. And that's the thing, like your high that you get could be different to somebody else's high that they get.
I've never thought of that.
And this is what I used to do. I always tried to bring everyone along to my high and bully them and pressure them in. Come on, take more. Like just get on this high with me. Yeah. Whereas they were really comfortable and happy where they were.
Yeah.
And I like what I figured out when I first started dating my husband was that because he was like I was used to these like, because anybody I suppose with these impulsive traits and these like wanting to get fucked up, I also had that in my relationships as well. I had always these crazy intense relationships, would move in straight away and like be so toxic. And then my husband then like, he wasn't like that. He was like, so like take it slow and just very rational. But I realized when I fed him like 10 pills, he would be like, I love you. I think you're the best thing in the world. So that was the other thing you can do. But so, you know, like my high, like I'm very like that anyway, but other people aren't. And so when it comes to moderation, people can moderate because they're not getting the high that you're getting. Like when we're getting this extreme high, we want more. Your brain's like, give me more. And that's why, like, especially people that have ended up doing drugs as well, like, it's because the alcohol is never good enough. Then you do a line, that's not good enough. You do another line, it's not good enough. And then you'll start ringing your ex-boyfriend because you want some sort of excitement, your dopamine hit. Like
is that why we ring our exes? Is that why?
Yeah, well, it's you're wanting more excitement, more like, you know, you want to be more impulsive and it's just, it never is enough.
Oh, I think you've just solved the biggest mystery in the world, Mel, because a lot of our guests talk about texting the ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
No.
It's just bored. It's not enough. And that's why it's like, I always think now, because I am so aware of that I'm like, this high isn't that good. It's not good. And when I have drank, and now I'm so aware that like, that's why I'm like, I just want to be sober, because it's not unlimited when you're sober. You're just like this nice consistency. Yeah, I'm not super fucked up, but it's not good anymore. That fucked up feeling is what we remember when we were younger. It's not what it is like. And especially when you know how good sobriety is now, you can't drink the same. You're so ignorant. You were ignorant before. You're not now.
Yeah, love that. I love what you said earlier about your sobriety. You're not restricting yourself. Is that what you said? You said it's not restricting it. You actually really love being sober. I love that. Yeah, that was brilliant. So then carry on.
Oh, sorry. Just to that, like, I'm not restricting myself. And that's what happened when I was like, I just released my membership. I just like, you know, it's not me as booze was growing bigger. And then suddenly I felt restricted. I was like, oh my God, like people are looking at me. I have to be like perfect. And like, I'm running this group now. And that's when I first crossed that boundary with drinking. And I've only done it a few times, but that's in the 3 years. But like, that was the first time that I really crossed that boundary. And it was because I'd put so much pressure on myself that, and this is just my own thinking, like in my head. But yeah, that's what caused the first one.
I was just going to chime in there, Mel, because I had this similar thing when I started my Instagram account under the radar. It was called Sober Aussie Mum, and it was purely just to keep me on track and find a sober community. And then I was like, people started finding out about it that knew me. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, what happens if I start drinking? I need to change the name, because I was obviously interested in alcohol-free drinks. So I changed the name to iPhone AM.
I noticed your name change.
Yeah, thinking no one can attack me here because I'm just talking about alcohol-free drinks. I'm not really talking about sobriety, just in case I go back to it. So I was protecting myself, purely just doing, you know, the mental gymnastics in my own head about that.
Because people like, the thing is, we always like put so much pressure on. People can change their mind. Like, people change their mind.
Yeah, exactly. We spoke about that in a previous episode, actually, because people change their mind on politics, on sexuality, on, I don't know, food, taste, anything, and that includes alcohol as well, whether you want to drink alcohol or not. And I actually think it's great that you've dipped your toe back in and out, and because you've having experience going back on it and then going back off it, and you're able to share that with the community. So you've enhanced your tool belt, haven't you, to be able to share with your
You've done some research
members.
I'm doing the research for you all, guys. What else do you want me to research?
Have you got back on the gear? What have you got back on the gear, Mel?
I've tried that as well. I've tried that sober.
How was that? I think I heard a podcast. I heard it on it. Sorry, I just cut you off then. I think I remember hearing that on a podcast.
Was it with Sober? With Sober? Was it?
Yeah, maybe. It was awful.
Was it?
On the gear and sober. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us.
Yeah,
tell us.
It's just the most worst feeling. You've got so much anxiety. Like, and then it just makes you realize how shit this stuff is, and you're spending so much money on it when you need alcohol to make that good. Like, and it's not even like, again, it's not that good. Like,
fascinating.
It's just like we have this idea that it's not real, and I think that's what that's like what I've learned. Like, it's just none of it is good.
So it's almost like you need the booze for the gear, you need the gear for the booze. Like,
like people are
the same pepper. The gear just makes you, I can't talk. Like, it's just like you can see how talkative I'm now, and then I just turn into a mute. That's not fun.
Real spatchy. I love this. I actually needed this pep talk too, because Breezer and I, like we said in the previous episode, we do entertain or romanticize about it, and this is exactly what we needed to go. It's not going to be what you think it's going to be, because we have been romanticizing about it, of what it's going to be like, and I do the same thing. So thank you. That's just the best advice. So Mel, you left the events industry and you started. That was as COVID hit, wasn't it? You left.
COVID hit. Yeah,
and what all your events experience obviously has been able to be entwined to your it's not me, it's booze. So tell us firstly your studies. Tell us about your studies, because I'm curious to know about the uni stuff as well, and how did It's Not Me, It's Booze start, and how'd you get the name?
Because it's like, it's not me, it's booze. Like, it's not me. It's like when I was writing those love letters, you know, like,
it just came to you. There was it just was like bang, because it's so true.
I think I was drunk, actually. I was in a cab in Bali. And I was like, I'll start, like, I felt like shit. I'd just come back from the club, and I was like, all right, I'm going to start an It's Not Me, an Instagram account about alcohol and just my experience. Like, it wasn't going to be anything. It's just like a secret thing. And I was like, actually, I'm going to change this trip around in Bali. And then I was just throwing names around in the cab. It was like, I think early hours in the morning. And then I was like, it's so much booze. And I'm going to do the rest of like half of this trip drinking and then the next half sober. So I was with all my best friends, and my husband came up later on. And so I was like, I want to see what the difference is. Like, can I still have fun sober? I mean, I'm with people that I love. Like, surely I can still have fun sober. And I did it. And I realized that when I was drinking, I was passing out early because hence I didn't have the gear to keep me going, which is like another thing. Like, I'm not a good drinker, so then I'm trying to put another substance in to make me a better drinker. But I was passing out early. I just, there was the first hour would be fun, but then it would just like go like not that fun. And then I would eat all this shit food and then come home, and then the next day I'd be hungover for the like whole day. And I was really bad hangover. Like, my friends could go out and do stuff, I wouldn't be able to do anything. And so then I did the other half sober, and it was just so good. And like, I would go out to the clubs, and I was leaving later than what I was when I was drinking because I wasn't passing out. And I'd wake up fresh the next day, go to the gym, do all like the fun stuff, the holiday stuff, and I just felt so good. So that was kind of like how it started. And then it was just more like a therapeutic thing for me. I don't know if you look way past like when my old material, it's like writing in a diary.
Dear diary.
Did.
Yeah. Exactly. So that was how it started. And then and then when COVID hit, I wrote down like all these things that I wanted to do, like with my husband helped me because I was like I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't really want to be in events anymore. And I wanted to be more in a helping role, and I wanted to work with people with disabilities. So I'd like written that down, but also wanted to help people with their mental health as well. And so then like we just wrote down like, and also like I wanted a community. So I just wrote down all these words, and then it's kind of all happened. So I'm now I do some support work with people with disabilities, and then we also have the membership, and then I'm studying my postgrad in psychotherapy and counselling. So I'll be finished at the beginning of next year. So
wow,
so
yeah,
good. That's amazing.
So, yeah,
got a lot going on.
Yeah,
a lot. So tell us about It's Not Me, It's Booze. Like, how do people become a member? What does that look like?
So they just sign up on the website, and we do like a one-on-one call for an hour just to uncover their values and what their needs are, just to make sure that we are a good fit for them. Because obviously, like, thing is with the members, it's great for people that are able to go in and, then it's probably more like they've got more binge drinking tendencies, and especially if they're in Sydney and Melbourne, and that works really well because we do have some in-person catch-ups. But if you are struggling with alcohol a little bit more, that's when I would recommend to do a one-on-one with me. And then if you want to, you can go into the group, because going into a group, having a community works if you're engaging, but you have to, I've learned, but at the start, when you're starting your journey and you're really struggling with alcohol, it's really daunting to be engaging with a bunch of people you don't know. So that's why I do recommend to do a one-on-one with me first before you start entering into the group. But yeah, it's slowly growing. It's going in the right direction. We have a beautiful community. Like, the women in there, they're just so supportive of each other. And, I see it in the community. People they're on with their sober journey and they're off with their sober journey, and then they're on and they're off. So you can never make someone feel judged for doing that, because they are there and they'll engage. But we always want to be, we're not striving for 100% sobriety. We're striving for them to do the work.
Yeah.
I think Holly Whitaker says that, like, maybe Laura McCon, it's like, it's not just about sobriety, it's about the work. And that's what we are really trying to help them with. So yeah, that's
unreal.
Brilliant.
And it's like anything though, isn't it? Like anything in life, like you might go to the gym for 6 months solid and then have a break, or you might go on a good eating. Like I'm a shocker for those sort of things. Or like I'm eating healthy for a week, or I'm going to get up and do Pilates for a week. It's like anything in life. You might become obsessed with it for a while, then have a break.
Exactly. And Yeah, and that's the thing, like, we have to also look at the severity of, if of the alcohol use disorder, because there's so many different levels of it. But at the same time, like I said, recovery is unique to that person. So all I can do is give you all the resources that you need. And then I just recommend for people, like, if you want to give up alcohol, you need to embrace the journey, and you need to, like, life is about testing, and this is a test. It doesn't have to be forever, but you can just test this out and see if it works for you. Because I know, like, the other day I was tempted to drink, and I spoke about it on my Instagram. We were in Queensland, and I actually went and bought the bottle, and I had it on the table about to drink it, and my husband just gave me this look, and he was like, right, like, I straight away got all defensive and just like stormed out of the house, and then like, but big deal. And then, but he's just like, are you, like, the wedding, whatever, that happened, but you got sober again, but are you ready now to invite chaos in? There was no reason to drink then. There was no special occasion. Like, are you ready to invite chaos back into your life? And that is the key thing with alcohol, is like, you are, even if you do think about when you are drinking, like, I'm inviting chaos back to my life. Like, I gave him PTSD, like, I was a wreck, and you're inviting the unknown back in your life. So it's like, are you ready to do that?
How's that quote?
I know. I mean, I know. It makes us think of the same.
I'm blown away. That's a tile straight there. Are you ready to bring chaos back in your life? That's bloody brilliant, Mel. Love it.
You need to get bumper stickers.
Just
for that.
Curious, what did you buy? What was the booze you bought? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, some cheap Prosecco. I always want Prosecco.
You didn't even go top shelf, Mel.
I know. I don't know. It was just like quickly off the shelf.
In and out of there.
And then scram.
Yeah.
What a legend, though. Shout out to Andy. What a bloody legend. We'll get to him in a moment. But that's so good that you've got that support network there as well.
Yeah.
Mel, there was a post you did, I don't know how long ago it was. It was probably sometime last year. And you sort of alluded to the fact that you broke the mold when it comes to family with the life that you're living at the moment. Are you comfortable to sort of talk about that?
Yeah, so I grew up with my grandma and my
Margaret.
Margaret. Yeah, I think, and that's the thing. Like, when I'm quickly going back to that, when I was 27 and going through that big drinking phase, I didn't deal with that grief. Like, I just got super fucked up. Went to Thailand, went to a full moon party, broke up with my boyfriend, husband that is now.
All the things.
Yeah, all the things. But yeah, so I grew up with my grandma. My mother and father were in Hobart, but I didn't grow up with them. I grew up with my nan, and it was, I think, I just thought that was my normal, but people would always question me, like, why you're not living with your parents? And I just, because my nan always said, they love you in your own way, like, everything's cool. And it's like, my family doesn't really speak about things anyway. So I would see, like, dad maybe once a month, or mum, like, I don't know, it kind of would change. Like, there's parts of my mind I don't even remember seeing them. So they were there in the same state, but I didn't really see them that much. And they divorced, but I didn't even know they'd divorced because I didn't really see them that much. But then they both have new partners, and I've got closer with them as now I'm older. But when I say, like, I broke the mold, is because I didn't think that I would be able to have a family of my own, or like have a serious relationship that would last for a long time. Like, I've had a lot of boyfriends. I haven't spent much time single, but they were always very crazy relationships and quite toxic. And I didn't think I was capable of being in a loving, nice relationship. And, because I hadn't really seen that, like, my nan had been abused by men, and my dad was, like, obviously not with my mum anymore, and my mum was in different relationships. So it was very hard for me to see that was possible for me. But yeah, and I have. So Andy's the best thing that's ever happened. He's so stable and rational and just consistent, and I've never really had that consistency in my life. People have kind of always been in and out. So yeah, I think it's it's nice. Did I explain that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, you paint us a picture. Yeah.
Obviously a tricky thing to discuss, but
Yeah.
as Booze-Free Dad says, generational change, and you've done it. You're doing it for your little family as well. So it's wonderful, mate. Hey, so you did talk about Andy, you just touched on, but we want to deep dive into him. Husband. Yeah. How long
Hi,
have you
Andy.
guys, Hi, Andy. How long have you guys been together for, and what role has he played in your sobriety besides giving you the look?
Yeah. We've been
The stink
together
eye.
I get that a lot. And we've been together for over 10 years. And
How did you meet?
Yeah, same.
Oh, how do you reckon? In a bar.
Blind.
I think you said in Chapel Street. I think you're both from Tassie, aren't you?
Yeah, but we met in Melbourne. Yeah. And so he was singing in a bar and I went in there and then we started dating, and it's been a roller coaster. Like, it hasn't been perfect all the time. And like I said, when I was 27, things really did hit rock bottom with us. And he was actually done with it. I still broke up with him, but I think he broke up with me. He was actually done with it, but then my nan passed away, and he was the one, like, my parents couldn't get hold of me to tell me, and he was the one who had to call me in Thailand to tell me about my nan passing away. And then he's like, well, I can't leave her now. So we'll,
You look at, like, Margaret and think you brought us back together, and that's why we're married. Like, that's her gift, her parting gift, maybe. Like,
I feel like, because she was, and like, when you talk about drunk calling, like, she's the person I used to drunk call at 6 a.m. in the morning. She'd always answer, and I'm like, talk to this person now, talk to that person.
Love it. I love it.
But yeah, like, and he's just been such a good support, because I think he always saw that I had potential and that I am, like, alcohol wasn't me. Like, it wasn't that person that was, he knew that there was more to me, and he just stuck by me. And obviously, like, he's evolved, I've evolved, and we were able to grow together and were able to start communicating. So I think, that was probably the biggest thing, is that we were willing to grow together, which is where he's at now. And he's not sober. But it's not, he's cut down his drinking since, like, he would normally have a drink, like, on a Friday night and stuff, but not really now when it's just me. He won't. But it honestly doesn't affect me, him drinking, because he's not the one that is chaotic.
And he's a muso. Does he need a little plug? Did he sing at your wedding, did you say?
Yes, he did.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh my God. What did he sing? Did you know he was going to sing?
Yeah, I made him. He's like, he wrote a song for me, and he wrote it and he never finished it. I was like, you have to finish this song and sing it at the wedding. It's the only thing I've wanted, because he'd do all these gigs and, like, I've never get mentioned ever or a call out. And I was like, you have to do this.
Andy.
And then the day before, he's like, I haven't practiced. I was like, Andy,
this is happening.
Yeah, but it was amazing. He was so good.
That's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Shout out to Andy.
Yeah, does his little gig need a shout out? Where do we find him?
Well, he's got a podcast actually about it's called One Off the Wood.
Oh, is that about booze?
Yeah.
No way.
Love the name, by the way.
Yeah. But he's not in a band at the moment. He's a corporate boy these days. I don't think he ever wanted to be that. I remember his parents saying to me, like, he'll never work 9 to 5, and now he works. He works for Woolworths.
Oh, see, you can change your mind.
That's it. You can
exactly.
change your mind.
Exactly.
Mel, I did a bit of a scroll through your Instagram, and I found the post that you did. I think you're about 12 months. You've reached a 12-month mark of sobriety. I just want to read a couple of things out. So you've written, what happened when I quit alcohol? I gained confidence and clarity to quit my corporate job and started a business with my friend. I stopped listening to my ego and started studying and working with people with disabilities. I became more social because I had more energy and I wasn't dealing with a hangover. I became comfortable in front of the camera because my skin got better and I started eating healthier. My relationship became solid because my depression eased and I didn't have to be looked after anymore. My friendships got stronger because I could be present in conversations and really be there for them. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 massive, huge things from sobriety. So tell us, best part about sobriety, worst part about sobriety.
The best part is confidence, and being authentic. I think that's maybe 2 things, but it is before I was always hiding behind things because I was doing stuff that was dodgy or doing things that I didn't align with myself. So I was always on the defense or always worried about what somebody said about me or, because the thing is like I said before, especially in the workplace, I remember somebody said to me, you don't want to do things that people have something against you, have something on you. And I always felt like that everyone always had something on me. And I think that's the best thing now because I'm just honest about everything. And like I said, you can judge me, you can say whatever you want. But the thing is, I know it. I've talked about it. So it's a lot easier than hiding behind things. And probably the worst thing, probably, I think, yeah.
You can have some thinking music playing.
Some thinking music. No, I'm just trying to think of the worst thing is, there's not really a worst thing. I think it was there's been different stages. Like I said, I think to be honest, after the first year, it does get hard. I did 12 months. That was my goal. And then after that, it got hard because I didn't have really an idea of what I wanted to do with it. And then I thought, well, maybe I could dip my toes back into it. And I think you're so used to all the good things that sobriety gives you. And then suddenly you become complacent and you're like, all right, what's next? Or like all of us. And like you said, it's that missing that fucked up feeling and that chaotic feeling. And it's not just, I've just been watching Vanderpump Rules. Have you watched that?
No.
Oh my gosh, I just got into it. And it's this restaurant in LA and it's real trashy TV. But they have so much chaos with their relationships. And I'm like, oh my God, I miss that. I miss the chaos. And I think that is one of the things. I just wrote if people can subscribe to my newsletter, I send reflections every week. And that was one of the things I spoke about is being addicted to chaos. And it's really hard to change those thought patterns in your head. Because sometimes I'm like, oh, should I message that guy? No, I didn't. If you're watching, no, I didn't message anyone. But
I hear what you're saying now.
Yes, because I spoke about it just recently, how I needed a shift in mood because my relationship was not great and it was all over the shop too, a lot of alcohol involved in that. And all of a sudden it now became calm when we've split up. And I'm like, where's the highs and lows? And the chaos. And I was looking, I needed a high, I needed a change of mood because I was feeling really beige.
I know. And even one of my members rang me up and she's like, Mel, I'm like, what? She's like, everything is so good. I don't know what to do.
Yes. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you go.
I thought it was really interesting how when we asked what the worst was, you really struggled to find a worst, you're really stumped. And I think that spoke volumes about what sobriety gives. And I think when you were talking about the, wanting to get shit-faced and ride off and all fucked up, I miss that too, but that's fleeting. And then the tough things that I found about sobriety is having to sit in those emotions that you haven't had to deal with because you've numbed the shit out of them by pouring, booze on it because booze is a Band-Aid in a bottle. That's fleeting as well. So Breeze talks about paying it forward, I'd rather probably sit in those emotions and get through that because the chaos after getting fucked up, that lasts for a week. And then some.
Exactly. And you hit the nail on the head. It's any uncomfortable feelings you have sober isn't as bad as a come down. It's not
another line.
We're busy on the quote book today. Love it.
Because the worst thing is you might, like you said, you get that high from alcohol, you get that chaos or whatever you're wanting. but it's only fleeting. It doesn't last. And you're the one to pick up the pieces, you by yourself, no one else, and you with your thoughts, because it's your thoughts telling you not to drink. So if you're not turning up for yourself, it's you that has to deal with that. Nobody else. No one else is telling me not to drink. Like, yeah, people did tell me like I needed to grow up, but no one said become sober. And like, it's me. So every time I drink, when I have drank, I have to deal with the grappling with what I did because it doesn't agree with me.
I do not miss that.
Same.
Yeah. I do not miss that head noise.
And I just love, Mel, that you own it. Like you said, you've owned it when you have drank. So no one can say anything. And I was actually watching the rugby the other night, and my partner was saying that one of the players had got done doing coke at a nightclub. And he came out and owned it. He goes, yep, I fucked up. I did the wrong thing. I shouldn't have done it. Like, move on. Instead of making excuses up, he just owned it. And what can you say to that? You go like, well done, mate. Like, you've owned it, and hope you learnt your lesson or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. It's just that authenticity and that honesty with yourself.
Yeah.
And we're all learning. Like, it's all like, this is new. Like, I've been sober for a while, but it's like, it's still new. Like, you know, you evolve and you change and you things, like even being in Tassie, like Tassie has a lot of trauma for me. And like, I've never addressed any of that. So for starters, like sometimes it's not an easy place for me to be, but I feel a lot better now because we've got new memories and stuff down there. But, you know, there's so many things that can pop up, especially when you're sober, that start to trigger you or start to like, affect you, and you haven't even like thought about it before. And that happens through life, right? Like, you know, all this stuff that happens in your subconscious that you're not really aware of, and then it kind of comes up. It pops up. So it's I think you know, it's changing. You're always changing.
Yep. And life is I think we spoke about it, mate. So life is messy.
Yeah, and we've been drinking a lot longer than we've been sober, so we've got to give ourselves a chance. Like, we've been drinking since 14, so this shit doesn't change. It takes a long while to unlearn those behaviours, and when we're up against it, it's a real challenge. Mel, you spoke about your bipolar earlier, and if you're comfortable to talk about it, we'd love you to unpack that. But for listeners that don't know much about mental health, what does bipolar look like for you? What does it feel like, and what's the behaviours? And
Well, I'm going to speak like I've been diagnosed with bipolar twice, but I still don't 100% agree that I have it, to be honest. So I've gone through different stages of my mental health. Like, so the reason why I got diagnosed with bipolar because I was having extreme highs and extreme lows. But also I was doing a lot of alcohol. I was having a lot of alcohol, and I was also doing a lot of drugs. So you can give me this medication, but at the same time, nothing ever seemed to get better because I was coming down and I was high. Like, it was, I think it's very, and that's the thing, like, nobody told me to stop taking drugs. Like, but I think, you know, I was meant to go on some different medication this year, but I haven't. To be honest, I'm feeling pretty good. Like, there's two levels. There's bipolar 1 and bipolar 2, and I was not as severe. I didn't have as severe bipolar. But at the same time, like I said, like, I think sometimes people are quick to diagnose things, and when you have a diagnosis, it can really hold you back. Like, there is diagnosis is good. Like, a lot of people benefit from diagnosis, but like everyone's unique, right? And for me, being diagnosed with that at a young age and not understanding it, I think it did really restrict me in ways of thinking about myself, because, you know, when I did become sober, my mental health did become more stable. Like, there weren't as many of those highs and those lows. So I don't know where I really lay with that at the moment, but my mental health feels pretty good. And I honestly, when I started learning about my period and ovulating and all that, the menstrual cycle, I'm like, and I was speaking to my doctor recently, and they're like, it has been misdiagnosed before, like, you know, like, because it is. When I'm ovulating, I'm as high as a kite. Like, sometimes it feels like I'm on drugs. But then when I'm not ovulating, I'm really low, like in that luteal phase. So, yeah, it's
fascinating.
I've been on a journey with my mental health.
But it's a lot to, you said you got diagnosed at 17. That's a lot for a 17-year-old girl to take on board. that diagnosis.
Yeah, and the medication made me put on heaps of weight. So, back then when, we're obviously body positive now and there's not as, we're trying to fight against the diet culture and stuff. But when you're 17 and you suddenly put on a lot of weight, like you get bullied and you get like, there was so many roll-on effects from that happening.
Yeah, tough, really tough. How long, do you mind me delving a little bit further? The highs, how long would they last for? And is that just you just up and about, and the lows being, how low and how long would they last for?
Yeah, so the highs would last for like a few days. And I was very destructive. And then I would make really impulsive decisions. I was very impulsive. I'd make decisions that I wouldn't normally do when I was sober. And it would be for a couple of days. But I was also a really good worker at that time. So especially working in the events industry, we were working with events like Melbourne Cup and
chaotic,
and you are on all the time. So I was working all the time. And so, but then when I was low, I didn't want to be here. I've always had prone to suicidal thoughts. So that would be I would go from feeling I was the shit to awesome, and then suddenly just not wanting to be here. So, and then you mix that with drugs and alcohol, and it's just
chaos, like you said.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Mel. I know that's difficult, but it's important for the listeners to get a bit of an idea around it too, to get a bit more in depth of what that can look like. So thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Go, Meso.
No, you go.
Nah, lips are shut.
Well, I was just going to touch on your Instagram page, the couple of little beauties, little quotes and things that I saw actually last night. You said, thinking I need alcohol to make new friends, and then realising that's bullshit because alcohol doesn't create friendships. People do. I love that. Love that. So good confidence. And then you've also got, yes, and I love this one as well. This is actually me to a T. I didn't think alcohol controlled me, yet I would schedule Sunday as my hangover day. That's what I used to do. Yeah.
That's the thing. People say they're not relying on things. We live in an addictive world. Try not looking at your phone. Try not taking your phone a bit. You know what I mean? We're in such an addictive world, and it's so when it comes to alcohol, people schedule out their days to be hungover. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was me. I'd prep, I'd buy food ready for my hungover Sunday.
Yeah.
Food prep.
It's the worst food in the world, is it? Not the worst food in the world, but
sloth around.
Yeah, just sloth around.
And I love this. Living my best life means not being hungover. And I think booze is just so problematic. And I think if it was easy, if sobriety was easy, everyone would be doing it. Don't you?
So true.
Oh, yeah. But it takes time. You guys have done it. It takes time. And the thing is, I always say to people, do a year. Test it out for a year, because you've drank for so long. This is just something new, because you're not going to get the benefits. Sometimes not even in 3 months. It takes time to get the benefits.
Yep. No one ever regretted sobriety.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm going to handball it back over to you, May. So have you got a little quizmaster question for Mel as we're starting to wrap up?
Yeah. Mel, I'm just going to fire a couple little fun little questions at you. Don't really have to think about them too hard. All right. Tell me, Mel, what's worse, laundry or dishes?
Oh, laundry. Definitely.
Are you a shower or a bath person?
Shower.
Taco or burger?
Taco.
Shopping online or in-store?
In-store.
Passenger or driver?
Sorry?
Are you a driver? Yeah.
Are we asking the taxi driver or? I'd rather be the passenger.
Would you rather have the best sex of your life once or mediocre sex every day?
Oh, once.
Yeah. And the last one, have you ever photocopied a body part?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Yeah, of course, a hand or a face.
No boobs,
though. No boobs or fanwa.
You've got to watch out who you ask that question to, because who uses a photocopier?
Who uses a photocopier? Have you got a photocopier? Can someone send me in a body part?
No.
No, but how's this? One of my a person I know who will remain nameless spoke to me one night at the pub because she was speaking about the podcast, and she shared a shame story with me just willy-nilly, and it involved a photocopier and body parts.
Really?
At a Christmas party.
Oh,
I was like, that is gold.
That is like what's the generation underneath me?
I always get
I
confused.
get confused.
No,
When did I become millennial?
Yeah. Well, there's a new one.
Oh, is it?
I don't know what they're called.
They wouldn't have photocopiers.
Correct.
They would missing out.
Totally.
Yeah, no, I know.
Scanning.
Oh, now,
Like,
Mel, you go.
No, I'm talking shit.
That's okay. That's what we're here. That's what we're here for. I was going to say you're our first guest to talk about our next new segment. Okay, I'm going to explain it. So it's called Phone Fuck Up with a PH.
It's a phone fuck up with a PH. So we don't give an F with the call or text. Phone fuck up with a PH. Give it a ring, check it roll.
Well, we thought text regret was a little bit restrictive. There's plenty of stuff that happens when it involving a phone when you're on the source. So over to you, Mel. What's something that's happened when you've been let loose on the phone? Besides ringing
phone?
Margaret.
Yeah. Ring my grandma. That's not very cool, is it?
Margaret would have loved your Flappy song, Breezer.
Yes, Margaret would have.
Your what?
We'll post it. We recorded an episode the other day with a song that I used to sing when I was blind.
Oh my God.
With the girls.
Why don't you give it to her now?
Can you just give it a little bit?
Go on, Breezer.
Okay, I'll do the whole thing because I can't
This is
just do
for
a
you,
little
Margaret.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm laughing too much. But flaps, 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 flap, 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 flaps, flaps, juicy, round and hard. Just grab your flaps and around the yard with flaps, 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 flap, 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 flaps. Don't be shy. Grab your flaps, 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 flaps. Dun.
Oh my gosh. What is that? I love that.
And then the other one, actually, Mate, so you haven't heard the other one.
I reckon
used to
I have
sing-
heard George sing the flap song.
So the other one, which is a short one, was bum tit tit, play the hairy banjo.
And would these just come out when you're drunk?
Yeah, they just come out with all like my
Yeah.
high school group of friends. We'd sing them quite a lot. Yeah. Anyway,
I
over
love
to you, Mel.
Yeah.
No, that's so good. My song that I used to come out with wasn't as good. It was like, so when I was in high school, I wrote songs for Crime Stoppers. So lame. Oh,
What?
I know. And like this song, I went and sang in front of assembly, and like I went to a bogan school. Like I had all the people there at my school like that would do all this stuff, and I was like, common assault. It happens all the time. Common assault. There is nowhere to hide.
At this one.
Yeah, so not as cool as you. But yeah, no wonder I got bullied at the time. But
That's creative, Mel. Very creative.
So good.
Yeah, so creative. The next one was about graffiti and how bad that was.
Give it. We want to hear it.
Graffiti wrecking our neighborhood. That was a trumpet.
You are a singer, though, aren't you, Mel? I've seen you singing on Instagram. You've got a good voice.
No, like as a joke. I like musicals. I like doing
Musicals,
like
that's your
musical
thing, isn't it?
numbers. Yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
There's a really bad one actually. When I was younger, I cheated on my boyfriend and recorded the whole thing on his voicemail.
Possibly the worst one we've had, Mel.
It's only just started the season.
I'm talking about season 1 as well.
Did you mean to?
No.
Oh, I thought you actually was like, right.
No, it didn't mean to. Like,
What happened?
and then he questioned me about it, and I lied. And then he's like, "Well, I've got this recording here," and I was like making out with this guy and saying that I shouldn't be cheating, and like,
Dead.
dead.
So had you accidentally rang, like pocket dialed him and it went to his voicemail or something? Oh my God.
that used to happen all the time. It doesn't really happen anymore, but like,
Bummer.
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Shit, that's a biggie.
Do you want to put a sorry out to him?
Or was he a douche? Is that why you cheated
No,
on him?
he wasn't a douche. But yeah, sorry about that.
Bless your heart.
Whoopsie.
Whoopsie daisies. That's a big whoops.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it was yeah, but like, to be honest, he cheated on me as well. So there we go.
Oh, fuck him.
Yeah, he just didn't record it. Yeah. Except like I got recorded, and then he rang me up like 5 years later and told me that he had cheated on me as well. And I was like,
Well,
take back that sorry.
pop him in the bin.
yeah. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like these relationships that I was in, but I loved that. Like I was like addicted to that thrill and like that fighting, and then back to like being good again, and then like it was like ugh.
How good's the makeup sex though after you've had a row?
Yeah, so good.
It's all about makeup sex.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. It's all part of that thrill, isn't it? It's all part of that.
Yep, the high.
Pick a fight
Yeah.
for a
Good route.
Yeah.
good fuck with a PH.
It's time for the recommendation of the week.
Well, we're
TV.
reading the book. We're reading a book in a members book club. We're reading the holistic psychologist book, How to Do the Work.
Oh,
That's
is she
so
on Instagram?
Yeah. So she's got a book as well. So she's a holistic psychologist, and we're reading books. We're doing the 75 soft challenge at the moment, and that book is so good. I'm just reading it now because I have to read 10 pages every day.
I saw that.
Amazing.
I saw that. I love your little challenge, Mel. And I love that you've got the book club as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
right up Bree's
Because-
wheelhouse. She loves a book club.
yeah,
She
have
has
a
to have
full book-
T-shirts.
Yeah, we've got T-shirts in our
Really?
book club. Yeah, we call the
Oh.
Basic Bitches book club. So we meet once a month.
love
and
that.
It's fun. I love books. Yeah, just love it. That's like my thing now.
Talking
Yeah.
about T-shirts, have you still got merch, Mel?
I do, but I haven't really been selling it. I do have some left.
They're
But
gorgeous.
I want to
little
get.
tea.
Yeah, they're cool, but I want to do hoodie, like, or something
Oh,
else.
yes,
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah, I
Yes.
know. Yeah.
Same.
But also another recommendation: watch Vanderpump Rules. It's so bad, but it's so trashy. So
What's
if
it
you
on,
want to,
Mel?
like, Amazon Prime
Okay.
Video.
Cool.
But if you are addicted to chaos and you want to get a little bit of chaos without creating it yourself, watch that.
Great
Okay.
Because you'd be
reco.
like, yeah.
I love that. Love that.
Great reco.
I don't want this to finish. You've been too good.
You've
There's
been
so
awesome,
many
Mel.
Powerful.
Oh, thank you.
I honestly
messages.
feel like it's been a therapy session
100%.
as well.
Yeah, me too.
Like-
Brilliant. Well, we have. She's a
Needed it.
psychologist.
I know.
We've got the
Psychotherapist.
Psychotherapist.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I always
That's
get
right.
them
You
mixed up.
can send me the invoice later. I'll
Yeah.
send you the invoice later.
We'll get your
Shit.
own voice.
yeah. No, you guys are doing an amazing job with this podcast, and I think the best thing about you guys is that you make it fun, and that's the thing. Sobriety, it's fun. Like, you have to make
Yeah.
it fun, because the reason why we do this isn't to restrict ourselves; it's so we can have more fun in life. So, yeah, we need
Love
people
that.
like you here.
Fun with
Have a
the
laugh,
PH.
yeah, PH.
Mate, that means the world to us, particularly
Does.
coming from yourself, that you are the community, what you're doing. And so it just really does fill our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mel. Thank you for giving up your time too. We really appreciate it.
100%.
That's okay. Thank
so
you very
open and
much.
honest.
Thanks, guys.
We love you.
Thanks, Mel. Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is proudly produced by our audio engineer, music extraordinaire, Eric Ladd.
We love you, Eric.